You don't really need the X's and O's to figure out what happened here. The Avs just got outworked. Avs lose to the Seattle Kraken 3-2.
Artturi Lehkonen! Colorado has won the Stanley Cup!
Not a complicated one, and one that the Avs should probably be pretty frustrated with themselves with on the night. Sometimes players have off nights. I think that's certainly part of the equation with guys like Makar. But you also saw your top line disappear and your bottom six struggle. If your name isn't Erod, Nichushkin, or Byram, they probably needed more out of you. And that's not to say there weren't other good plays. Alex Newhook really had a very good game, created a lot of chances, and had a lot of good work, but he couldn't convert on a goal that the Avs desperately needed. The first period was far and away the best of the game for Colorado. They were competitive. Seattle outshot them by a little bit. Seattle also had a power play in that period, so there's a little bit of give and take there, and most of the Avs' best opportunities came in that period. There was some consistent going offense for them, again, driven by that second line of Erod, Newhook, and Nichushkin. Frustrating for sure that they weren't able to convert on any of that offense, but it was a solid period. Two good hockey teams going at each other. And I really don't know that Seattle's a good hockey team, but they certainly played hard in this game. And the Avs were awfully close. They hit two posts in this game, so a couple inches of difference, and it looks a lot different. But those pucks didn't go in the net, and when you get to the second period, the Avs forgot to show up. It was just a lack of effort. They pretty much got outworked, and then once the first goal went in, became shell-shocked. And maybe more importantly than that, they need to do a better job of staying out of the box. Just under 100 seconds into the period, the Avs fall behind. The PK system the Avs are trying to run right now has an extremely fatal flaw. With a lot of rotations and a lot of things going on, you end up with the forwards having to do a bit of yo-yoing and get tired quickly, skating up and down, dealing with the bumper position. As you set up a triangle for the offense in their standard cycle positions, this becomes really hard to deal with because you're having this vertical work from the forward. They don't come over and help on the boards. That leaves a defender to cover far too many angles at once. Your EJ now has to deal with the puck carrier, and he has to deal with the man down in the corner while relying on Manson to deal with the man in front. However, as these rotations continue to happen, the puck goes back out high. This drags Compher out. Now he has a long way to go to yo-yo back in. So when the puck comes back down, Manson has to make a decision. He either has to come out extremely high in the zone and leave the net front open, or he has to cover the man net front. If he does not communicate which guy he's covering to EJ, they're going to get into a little bit of a sticky situation. So EJ now has to take the puck carrier, and that means Compher has to come all the way back from this distance and take the man in the middle, or they're in big, big trouble. Compher is late on that move. EJ nearly bails him out of the situation, but just can't quite cover back in time. The Avs just really struggle to cover a man in the center of the ice. It's the one area you really would like to have covered on the PK. The Avs fail to do it, and it costs them. Look, on the whole, the PK was actually very good tonight. They kill 4 of 5 and even get a shorthanded goal later in the game. So that is a terrible PK breakdown, but not really the problem. If your PK goes 80%, you can live with that. You just can't put a team on the power play 5 times in a game. The real backbreaker goal is the one that comes 22 seconds later, though. Really not a ton to break down here. A puck getting dumped into the Avs zone. Frankie is going to opt to play it and sends it back from the way it came. Now he's hoping to play this to Martin Kaut, but the puck is off of the ice and bouncing along the boards. It's a hard one to control, so when it gets by Kaut, now he's in big trouble. He's not even fully set. He gets here expecting this to be a shot, but there's a man on the back door. The Avs are in shambles because they weren't ready to make this play. They're expecting they have possession of the puck and they'll get control of it, but Frankie sending it up that way did not get them possession. So now it's a mad scramble where the Avs are in big trouble. Frankie gets a piece of it, initially almost cutting off the pass, and then the puck just kind of bounces over. Girard nearly saves this, getting in behind, but it just trickles through him and into the net. Just stay in your net, man. I mean, that's just a mess, right? All the way around. Frankie, if you're going to play the puck, you have to play it effectively. You can't put yourself in situations like that result in bad goals. We'll talk about Frankie a bit more in a minute. Just hold on, we'll get there. The Avs, thankfully, at least do have a semi-quick answer. About 4 minutes later, they get one of those goals back. This right here is Bowen Byram. The Avs really don't play two defenders anymore. They play 3 forwards, a rover, and a defender. Honestly, that's what it's like. Byram fully committed into the offensive zone here. He gets in deep, helps dig out a puck, wins a battle, and is able to get the Avs set up deep in the zone. From there, he's very patient, very calm, assessing his options, recognizes the man without a stick has left Val Nichushkin wide open in deep. He sets him up, gets him there, and backs out. You couldn't play Rover any better than that. It's perfectly executed to a T. And then Val in a very advantageous situation, again, with the Kraken player out of the play, he's got that man beat, and you're stuck in an essential 2-on-1 situation. The covering the net defender has to either commit to Val or take away the pass to Erod. He ultimately tries to take away the pass to Erod by stepping in the lane, but Val outplays him, just beats him to it, and gets the pass through anyway. Erod able to pack that one home nicely. And you can just feel it coming for those guys. Erod and Nichushkin absolutely flying all night long. Newhook doesn't get a point there, but had been riding on that line and playing very, very well. And then Byram, easily the Avs' best player on the night. It's great to see that line actually break through, and you could see it throughout the night. They're so close to being really, really good. Once you get Newhook going a little bit too, I think that line is going to be super dangerous every single night. They're almost there. They're starting to break through with this game a little bit more, and it's going to be scary. You figure the Avs get the goal back. They'll start pushing now. You'll see that quality hockey come through. But it kind of just never came. Seattle consistently outworking them for pucks, outracing them to pucks, winning the battles, and the Avs just kind of cruised along at times. Colorado felt way too comfortable playing without possession of the puck. Just not their game at all. And I can forgive some of the sloppiness, of which there was plenty on the top line. Sometimes you have off nights. I think it's safe to say there was that on the top line. But that doesn't excuse the lack of effort. And the weird part is the Avs came out in the first period hard. They played physically to start, and then the second, third period, it kind of just disappeared. I don't know if that's them looking ahead to the Vegas game, getting a little bit ahead of themselves or what, but it just wasn't good enough. Despite that, they're still an incredibly talented hockey team and can keep themselves in these types of games. Even when they put themselves into trouble, they spotted a 2-goal lead to Seattle. They're trailing by 1 heading into the third. They take more penalties. They're not making life easy for themselves. And granted, some of those penalties were pretty sketchy, but you have to find a way to be better than that. Anyway, they take more penalties, and even then, they show up and manage to get the game tied. Avs on the penalty kill here on a rimmed puck, and this is just great work from Logan O'Connor. Did not see enough of this tonight from the Avs. Engaging in a puck battle and clean winning one. Gets the Avs on the right side of the puck, go in the right direction. It's just great work, and then a cute little chip play to get him up the ice on the short-handed situation. This is already a great chance. You've created a 2-on-1 opportunity short-handed, but it gets even more ridiculous. You don't even get to see it in the screen, but Val saw it. Just off screen here is Bowen Byram coming streaking in, fully committing on a short-handed situation to create a 3-on-2 rush instead of a 2-on-1 rush. And again, he's playing that rover position so well. He gets rewarded for it and puts a great finish on it. Byram is really, really good. I cannot stress that enough. He's not as good as Cale Makar, but you're talking about the literal best defenseman in the world there. Byram, by the end of the year, we could be having a conversation about him in the top 10, and I fully expect to have a conversation about him in the top 20. The Avs' high-end defense is absolutely ridiculous in that regard. They hardly even missed Devon Taves, at least on the top pairing in this one. Incredible work all the way around. I also want to credit Nichushkin, 2 assists that are both great in this game, but Byram was really the star of the show here, keeping the Avs in this one. Here's the thing, though. You just can't spot teams' 2-goal leads. It takes too much work. It's too hard to come back and win those games on a consistent basis. I know the Avs did a bunch of it last year, and they'll probably do some more of it this year, but On the whole, you're gonna lose those games most of the time. And while the Avs crawled their way back into this one, they couldn't get over the hump. It felt like they should have been able to. You know the Avs are capable of way better than they played. They just turn that effort dial up a little bit, work a little bit harder, win some of those battles, they probably win this game pretty handily. And of course, that's not good enough, but also that isn't a deep problem with the team. You just try, and this problem goes away. It's an 82 game season. You're going to see some games like this. You're not going to be happy with them, but they happen. And even then, this game probably should have made it to overtime, but oops. There's not a ton to break down here. Eventually, Seattle's just going to flip a puck down the ice. And yes, if this is a better skater, if this is Cale Makar, Sam Girard, they get to this puck, it's never in any danger. So willing to acknowledge that. But Curtis McDermott is not that good of a skater, and he does enough of a decent job defending here. He doesn't give up the middle of the ice, forces them to the outside, creates a routine play, or what should be a routine play for Francouz. Unfortunately, Francouz just kind of botches this one. He drops down into the butterfly and just lets his stick fly out. I don't know why, but that opens up his 5-hole and it gets put right through it. The same way there's no excuse for the lack of effort for the Avs playing in front of Frankie, there's no excuse for giving up that goal. Yes, at times Frankie did play very, very well in this game. He made some great saves to keep the Avs in it, and statistically his game looks fine, a .921 save percentage. You're not going to complain about that. But that's a goal that just cannot go in. All of that good work, all of those stats get thrown in the bin because you couldn't make a save that an NHL goalie has to be able to make. This game went from a game where Frankie was kind of trying to steal some points for the Avs to a game that they just lose because Frankie couldn't get him over the hump. And maybe it's unfair to put that on Frankie's shoulders, but he was one of the few players playing well tonight, and ultimately it was a letdown. And honestly, that goal was pretty much it. The Avs more or less accepted their fate and continued getting outworked through the rest of the third period, and you end up with a 3-2 final. This is the type of game where it encapsulated by itself, of course it's frustrating. Of course you want better than this singular hockey game. But if the Avs show up tomorrow, put a good effort in, and don't have these types of issues, you forget about this one almost immediately. This is that was bad, don't do it again, and it's fine. Unfortunately, with the back-to-back with travel the Avs have because the schedule is silly this October, it does not set them up very well here. But this team is still very, very far away from hitting any panic buttons. Take a breath. This is still a very good team. That was a bad game. They're going to be better than this on probably 75 of the 77 remaining games in the season. And again, they only lost this by 1 goal. If they're going to be better than this almost every single night, that's a lot of wins. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching. Head on over to the DNVR for all of our coverage. I am Rudo, and that game was kind of boring. That was maybe the most frustrating part.
Avalanche time, come on, grab your friends. We're going to the playoffs again with Nate the dog and Gabe the babe. The fun isn't over yet. It is Avalanche time.